Please be seated, everyone. Good morning. Special guest Carol Goss's family, inspirational faculty members and staff of the School of Social Work, and most importantly, accomplished once-in-a-lifetime centennial graduates, families, and friends. Welcome to the December 2021 University of Michigan School of Social Work Centennial Commencement Exercises. My name is Lynn Videcka, and I am Dean of the School of Social Work. Before we begin today's ceremony, I would like to introduce Clinical Assistant Professor Abigail Eiler to recite our native land acknowledgement statement. Abigail.
Buju Minogajep, Nigonga Makwen Dishnaka, Shoshan Wakiun Dao, Makwa Undoram, Hamandian and Donjaba, Kitten Michigan Dao. The School of Social Work is located in the Huron River watershed on the land stewarded by the Nishwe, Ishkidewin, and Anishinaabe, the Three Fires people, who are the Ojibwe, Odawa, and Potawatomi. As we work, live, and learn on these territories, we must keep in mind the ongoing effects of colonization, the community's struggle for self-determination, colonial state violence, and the recognition of Indigenous sovereignty. Through scholarship and pedagogy, we work to create a future in which we can live in a way that we all are proud, in a way that the past is thoroughly understood and the present aims to enhance social justice while enacting an ethic of care and compassion for everyone. Miigwech.
This is such a celebratory day. I am particularly honored to preside over this ceremony during the school centennial year. What a great honor for me. The excellence of our school is rooted in the dedicated faculty, devoted staff, and talented and committed student body. I'm so thrilled to be here in person with you, our graduates, and with your families, friends, and special guests. This centennial graduating class has the distinction not only of graduating during the celebratory year of the school's 100th anniversary, but also of living and learning during the most disruptive period in modern history, the COVID pandemic and the racial equality reawakening with another epidemic, that of police violence against Black and brown people. MSW graduates, you are an impressive class. 189 of you are graduating today with your MSW Master of Social Work degree. 8 of you are completing dual degrees, combining the MSW with another discipline, including public health, public policy, or international and regional studies. This class includes graduates with undergraduate social work degrees and a wide variety of other degrees from many fine public and private universities and colleges, including universities in Michigan and from universities across the US and world, from just to name a few locations, from California, from New York, Ohio, Massachusetts, and other nations, including China and the United Kingdom. Graduates, 117 of you represent the diverse areas of study within the school. You graduate as interpersonal practice majors. That's 117 students, our biggest major. 18 of you graduate as community organizers, 22 as child and family specialists, with 4 with a focus on management and leadership, 5 in global social work, and 8 students who graduate with a specialty in older adults and families, and 10 who focus on policy and political social work, and 5 as program evaluation and applied research specialists. These are all of for the family and friends, these are all of our specializations within the school. Collectively, this class has provided 172,000 hours of field internship service to the community. Students, you provided vital and innovative services to Michigan communities and beyond. You pivoted and adapted to telehealth and remote work during the pandemic. Here are a few examples of your contributions to the betterment of society during the global pandemic, when social work services have been needed more than ever before. Our graduates helped to create the COVID-19 Student Support Team at the University of Michigan, Dean of Students Office. And this group offered other students on campus support and resources when they were in quarantine housing with COVID. Our students provided a virtual support group offering affirming services for middle school aged youth with diverse gender identities and sexual preferences in rural communities. Our graduates facilitated monthly Undoing Racism workshops to support BIPOC students and to promote anti-racist actions and practices within the School of Social Work. Our graduates provided free 24-hour virtual access to therapy for Wayne County residents distressed due to the impact of COVID and racism. Our graduates developed trauma-informed, community-based programs for Metro Detroit youth and families experiencing grief and loss. And our final example, our graduates developed partnerships to create integrated health care for uninsured individuals. Class of 2021, you reached out, you raised hope, and you changed society. Let's give them a round of applause. Graduates, you come from every walk of life and from diverse locations and backgrounds, and you came together for a common purpose: to become a proud graduate of the University of Michigan School of Social Work, and to be a social worker who will transform lives in society, making our world a better place. Please join me once again in recognizing the contributions of our graduates. This has been a traumatic period in history, and each of us has experienced grief and loss in a profound and personal way. I would like us to take a brief moment of silence to remember those in our lives who have passed away, but who are with us today in spirit, whether a former teacher, a cherished friend, or a beloved family member. Let's take the moment of silence. Thank you. At this time, I'd like to acknowledge and thank our superb faculty for your commitment and your work with our exceptional students. I know the faculty joins me in sharing our best wishes for the graduates, and with the hope that the future holds great promise for every single one of you. Would the faculty members please stand and accept our appreciation for the excellent education they provided today's graduates. Thank you. And now, graduates, I'd like to take a moment to personally congratulate you. This is the centennial of the University of Michigan, our 100th birthday as an institution of higher education that offers the finest possible education for the practice of social work. As Professor Rich Tolman's historical play Changemakers and Rogerio Pinto's autobiographical play The Realm of the Dead both performed this semester to sold-out audiences in the school's atrium and in Precher Hall, so beautifully and artistically showed us some themes for the school and for social work are enduring. Among these are themes of racial injustice, social workers coming together as people of diverse identities who work together to achieve a better world, and the themes of epidemic and loss. These past 2 years have changed and challenged all of us in ways we could have never predicted in advance. In March 2020, we faced the pandemic and the sudden disruption of our daily patterns in reaction to the coronavirus pandemic. Many of us lost loved ones, and the pandemic had a profound impact on each of us in a unique way. Then in May 2020, the world erupted in the wake of George Floyd's brutal killing. Since then, people across the nation, including many in your class, have taken to the streets in large cities and small towns, calling for racial injustice and an end to racial violence. Some say this is a second and more just reconstruction in our nation, a tremendous opportunity. We have witnessed forward movement toward justice, stimulated by the racial justice activism, including the conviction of the police officer who killed George Floyd. But the killings have not ended. In the year after George Floyd's death, at least 229 Black people were killed by police. Black persons are 3 times more likely to be killed by police than white people, despite being more likely than whites to be unarmed. This is truly a moment to work diligently for racial justice. Graduates, Michigan's social workers everywhere look forward to joining you to bring about positive social change. Our own profession has undertaken an overdue examination of the history of exclusion of many identities, and particularly of racism in social work itself. Students, your activism succeeded in pushing this overdue examination forward. Our profession will better achieve its aims of equity and inclusion as a result of your efforts. Through it all, you've adapted. You've completed your studies under difficult circumstances. Your classwork was almost entirely online, and your field work required new levels of adaptability, ingenuity, and resolve. At the same time, you answered your calling as social workers by stepping up to the front lines, speaking out, and contributing to a better society. I'm really proud of your dedication, your achievements, your resiliency, and I'm thrilled to be able to celebrate with you in person today. You graduates, you've earned the respect and admiration and gratitude from the Michigan social work community and the university. You hold a special place in the history of the school and in my heart for the courage, tenacity, flexibility, and leadership that you showed during this most unexpected 2 years. And you are proud graduates of the centennial of the University of Michigan. You truly are a historic class. And now, I'll conclude in the words of Maya Angelou. Graduation represents a moment when, quote, the horizon leans forward, offering you a space to place the new steps of change. It's your time, graduates, to take those steps and make your contributions to the world. Congratulations. I am now delighted to introduce our keynote speaker, Michigan School of Social Work class of 1972 alumna Carol Goss. Carol is the president of Warrior Women Against Poverty, an organization she founded in 2015 to provide support to our most vulnerable children and families. Previously, she served for nearly a decade as the president and CEO of the Skillman Foundation, whose mission is to improve the lives of children in Detroit. She is a 2014 fellow in the Advanced Leadership Initiative program at Harvard University, and Carol is currently the chair of the board of Planned Parenthood Michigan. She also serves on the boards of Safe Roots Partnership, Detroit's Children's Funds, the Greenlight Fund, Board Source Incorporated, and COTS. Carol, you'll have to tell us what COTS is. I'm sorry I don't have that here. Carol was named the 2007 James A. Joseph Lecturer by the Association of Black Foundation Executives. Crane's Business Detroit cited her as one of Southeast Michigan's most influential women, an honor that the Respected Weekly bestows only every 5 years to the region's most dynamic and powerful women. And Carol holds a special honor here at the School of Social Work. Earlier this fall, Carol was recognized as one of the School of Social Work's Centennial Distinguished Alumni for the exceptional impact she's made on our community and our school. Please join me in welcoming Carol Goss.
Well, thank you so much, Dean Videka, for that very kind introduction. And COTS stands for COTS, which is a comprehensive homeless shelter for families in Detroit. So let me start by just saying congratulations to the 2021 graduates of the University of Michigan School of Social Work. It is indeed an honor to be asked to speak to you during this centennial year of the School of Social Work, a year that has focused so deeply on social justice and equity and impact. It will remain marked by your graduation. Being here today brings me back to my own graduation from this very School of Social Work, 1972. Also a time of activism. So much seemed possible because of the work of young people and because of the civil rights movement. Let's just say that while we were on campus, we marched and marched for all those things we believed were right and just. Well, wait a minute, correction. We were right and just. John Lewis would have called this getting into good trouble. I grew up on the west side of Detroit in a neighborhood where everyone knew everyone else. It was a protective community. Neighbors watched over each other. And my mother, Blanche Goings, she was the original nosy neighbor. She made her community her business. For my mother, it meant helping young mothers with newborns. It meant teaching young people to cut the grass and keep their yards neat and plant gardens, and it meant making sure we were all home before the street lights came on. Being a nosy neighbor for my mother also meant joining with her friends at the neighborhood school as volunteers in classrooms and in hallways and on the playground. I never forgot those early lessons of knowing and caring for your community, of showing up for more than yourself. The work of social justice is rooted in those early values of being involved and caring for each other. Those values have been woven into your studies and your placement over your time at the School of Social Work. It is embedded in our field. At a time of reinvigorated movements and activism, social workers should be ready to ground ourselves in the values of social justice. And so I ask all of you today, what do those words mean to you? Perhaps it is being the nosy neighbor, like my mother, caring for your community. Or perhaps it is working for the core belief that everyone should be protected and treated fairly. I will confess that this is the definition that has guided me all these years. Now, there are many organizations who attempt to provide more definition. The United Nations states social justice is the fair, compassionate distribution of economic growth. The National Association of Social Workers states the view that everyone deserves equal economic, political, and social rights and opportunities. Social workers aim to open the doors of access and opportunity for everyone, particularly those in greatest need. And finally, the Center for Economic and Social Justice states the virtue which guides us in creating those organized human interactions we call institutions. Now, I know for you, you will define your role in making sure there is justice for all. I can only hope and encourage you to carry this mantle of justice into your work in the field, on the ground, in neighborhoods and communities. I encourage you to integrate justice in your lives, both personally and professionally, always lifting up those who are less fortunate and who do not have access to the necessary resources in their lives. Even the smallest acts can transform lives. Now, I have one more story to offer you that makes that point. Can I confess to you that 50 years after graduating from the School of Social Work, in this story, I realized I have come home to the grounding of social justice and community that I learned from my mother and that was honed in this school. In 2015, I founded a program called Warrior Women Against Poverty, a movement of African American women to support our most vulnerable families and children. These families had been homeless, involved with the child welfare system, and often without the resources they needed to care for themselves and their children. I founded this organization after spending many years personally and professionally trying to improve the lives of children. It occurred to me that so many families were without a social network of natural helpers, like my mother, that enable the parents to be successful in parenting their children. I thought, what if they all had nosy neighbors, ready to make sure that their families could thrive, that their schools were successful, and that there was always someone who cared? Warrior Women's mission is to help women who have been homeless become economically self-sufficient and stable, and for their children to be nurtured and to grow into healthy adults. And this year we had our first woman to graduate from community college. That work is crucial at any time, but the pandemic brought these families to the brink. These families engaged with Warrior Women were trying to sustain low-wage jobs and educate their children at home without the right technology, and find childcare when they needed to be at work on the front lines. So many were isolated and lonely. When 6 years ago, when I started, I called upon all of my friends from high school, college, professional work to join me in participating in Warrior Women Against Poverty. Our Warrior Women became the social network families needed, providing the resources to overcome inequities and the friendship to listen, support, and advocate. In turn, returning to the lessons of love, care, and community. For me, that was the work of social justice. And in this pandemic, I have been so grateful for all of the nosy neighbors and helpers and warrior women who joined together to make sure women were finding that care. It's been the honor of my life. And I believe that this work will always be a part of my life. And so I say to you in closing, as you set off in your careers, never forget that you have the power, the care, and compassion to be a social justice warrior. When you are unsure, return to those values. It will lead you to the work that brings you great passion and makes a difference. It will lead you to change the world. So good luck to the remarkable class of 2021. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you so much, Carol, for that inspirational speech and for being a role model for each and every social worker who wants to be a warrior for social justice. Thank you. Thank you for that. And now, it's my true pleasure to introduce our first student speaker, Katie Cox. Katie grew up in Morenci, Michigan. She attended Jackson Community College and served on her local city council for 3 years, eventually graduating from Eastern Michigan University in 2018 with a Bachelor of Science in Social Work. During her undergraduate studies, Katie developed a passion for social justice and had the privilege of working with the Michigan Welfare Rights Organization, a union that advocates for public assistance recipients and low-income people. She also served as co-president for the EMU chapter of the Social Welfare Action Alliance. After graduating from EMU, Katie worked as an outreach coordinator at WISE, an agency that supports survivors of interpersonal violence. Her love of community work brought her to the University of Michigan to pursue her MSW. During Katie's time at the School of Social Work, she was elected to the student union and served as an ombudsperson, which allowed her to advocate and serve for her fellow students. An internship with the Lecturers' Employee Organization gave her the skills needed to organize workers and build solidarity across many disciplines. Upon graduation, Katie hopes to work in municipal government or the labor movement. She also hopes to advocate for fairer labor practices within the field of social work. Please welcome Katie Cox.
Thank you. Wow, okay. I am so humbled to be standing in front of you today. As a first-generation college student, I would be remiss if I didn't mention the sacrifices that we and our support systems have made to be here. I'll be honest, I struggled to find the words that would perfectly encompass this extraordinary class of MSW students. We have been through so much together, and despite the pandemic, we found support, we found community, and we found connection. It's remarkable that we are in this room together, and I'm very grateful for that. When I think about my time in this program, I am reminded of the many skills and lessons learned along the way. In the classroom, Danny Alvarez taught us to imagine better, walking us through a visioning exercise where we challenged and redefined the limits of our current systems. In the field, we realized why we needed to vision a better world and raise our expectations of what we can be and all that we can accomplish together. Raising expectations. It's a topic that has guided me throughout this program, and especially in my field work with the Lecturers Union, fondly known as LEO. When we collectively raise our expectations, we can advocate better, organize better, and change the status quo. As social workers, we are equipped with the skills to recognize power imbalances, injustices, and systemic issues. We must apply these skills to level the playing field in our agencies, our communities, and our profession. If we are to honor the dignity and worth of every person, we must put that practice at the forefront of everything we do. In the time we have spent together, I have seen the intention, the thoughtfulness, and the kindness that will be required of each and every one of us if we are to heal our society and forge paths of equity and justice. We'll have to reach inside of ourselves on the days where we feel defeated. We won't do it alone. We'll have to work together, and we'll have to radically support each other as we face the challenges that threaten and harm our communities. Lilla Watson said, "If you have come here to help me, you are wasting your time. But if you have come because your liberation is tied up with mine, then let us work together." When we remember that the people have the power, we can co-create resilient, adaptive, and caring communities. We can take lessons from Black and Brown communities who have been doing this work for centuries. Our collective liberation depends on it. Earlier I mentioned raising expectations. Let's reflect on that for a moment. As an MSW, you bring so many skills and talents to the table. I've seen what you can do. I've seen you encourage and uplift your colleagues. I've seen you improve programs at your field placements. I've seen the passions, interests, and strengths that have brought you to this program come to the surface during discussions in class. I know that you will continue to do this work and that you will create a more fair and more just society. Knowing your worth will help you gravitate towards the opportunities that are meant for you. I hope that you find yourself in a situation where you feel empowered and where your gifts are celebrated and uplifted. Remember to call on your colleagues and the network that you have created at this university. When you can, thank the people who poured into you and helped you to become who you are. As you reflect on your time in this program, I hope you will congratulate yourself for all the work you have done. Take pride in knowing that you have created the foundation for a career that will take you to many places and that will continue to allow you to touch the lives of so many people. Leslie Knope said, "I am big enough to say that I am often inspired by myself." I hope that you take that same energy and let it guide you throughout your career. You are very inspiring, it's true. I'll leave you with this final question. What will you do to raise the expectations of your community, your clients, and the social work profession? Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Katie. That was a beautiful contribution to our ceremony. Now it is my pleasure to introduce our second student speaker, Christian Smith. Christian graduated from Michigan State University in 2010 in psychology and biology with cognitive science and environmental focuses. He has since been intensively involved in community organizing, working with environmental nonprofits and startup organizations such as Time Banking and Mutual Aid. He has worked with sustainable systems and local community initiatives. He eventually, quote, landed, no pun intended, but I bet it was, in farmland and open space preservation for 5 years, coordinating county programs that help landowners and local governments permanently protect their most important lands. Christian is co-founder of Sylvan's Neighborhood Wood, a sustainable community and farm that demonstrates the best practices in regenerative development, energy, and agriculture. After 10 years of work, the community is coming to fruition in Chelsea, Michigan. He plans to help other groups develop sustainable, intentional, or agricultural communities. Christian sees the MSW program and his internship working with clients at Community Mental Health an honor and a privilege. He finds psychotherapy incredibly meaningful and complementary work to cultivating intentional communities. Post-graduation, he looks forward to working with Michigan Progressive Health as a ketamine-assisted therapist, helping clients with treatment-resistant depression and other mental health challenges. Simply put, Christian's vocation is working with individuals and communities for deep and sustainable healing of both people and the planet. Please welcome Christian to the podium.
Webster's dictionary defines social work as, I'm just kidding. More than most professions, social workers get to define themselves. And that's going to look different for each of us, based on our life experiences and the passions they've sparked, fires that have burned inside of us, cultivated for years. It's now up to us to make sure they don't burn out. So come, gather around our shared passion, and let's get stoked. What my passion says is that social work is what love looks like in the public sphere. We have the honor and privilege of making a livelihood of caring, of kindness, of compassion. It's not easy. There's as much joy as there is sorrow. It's because we turn towards suffering, towards the vulnerable, towards those oppressed and easily dismissed or thrown away. A classmate of mine said, social workers are the janitors of capitalism, sweeping suffering under the rug. I used to agree. I used to think that it was no sign of good health to be well adjusted to a sick society, that the entire field of mental health was simply the social pressure release for revolution, because to make oppression bearable is to make it sustainable. However, my cynicism was transformed as I healed from my own depression. And that was healed from a deep well of love that's been given to me by everyone that's ever loved me. But first and foremost, two incredible women, my mom, Sherry, who raised us by herself, and my sister, Celine, who's been a best friend to me since we were 3. And each of us in this room has been loved into greater being by a community of people. So I'd like to invite us right now to think of those people together. Maybe place your hand on your heart and just send some gratitude their way together. You feel that? That love is how we heal ourselves and help others to heal. Because hurt people hurt, but healed people heal. And when we help individuals, families, communities, groups to heal, we're empowering them to expand that healing and heal their worlds. We do that in compassionate seeing to help pain transform into growth. At my time at Community Mental Health, I've been honored to be in spaces where people are sharing the toughest experiences of their lives for the first time. Their tears are their unburdening. It's not a shared burden. It's the shared recognition that we're not alone. The unspeakable is spoken. As Mr. Rogers said, anything human is mentionable, and anything mentionable is manageable. Social work is supposedly a new profession, when 130 years ago, a group of women leveraged their privilege to help the vulnerable, and I honor that. But social work is as old as our species. Indigenous communities creating cultures of mutual aid, people of color continuing their cultures of care even under oppression. We are each built to be social workers, to care, to help, and yes, to love our communities into greater being. And I get it, we have challenges. But our group our class is used to challenges. COVID forced us to learn and to work through screens. And I think it taught us more than anything that as long as we can smile at one another, cry with one another, that we can make connections no matter the distance. My cohort started with a graduate student strike that was unfairly crushed, and then quickly to a presidential election that could have meant the enshrinement of fascism in this country. It was only narrowly avoided and perhaps only delayed. The stakes have only gotten higher. We face a deepening social divide at a time we need togetherness more than ever to face climate change, resource depletion, and ecological collapse. But it is us, those who specialize in the healing power of connection, that can help people work across divides in politics and gender and class and culture and privilege to help humans do what they do best, to work together. In my time at the university, I've worked in groups to help the Human Rights Commission of Ann Arbor to look at affordable housing policy. I worked with an interdisciplinary group across the university to work with cities on stormwater adaptation strategies to the coming floods of climate change. The point being is that social workers can work in any scale, and I, for one, cannot wait to see the first social worker president. I'm sure she will be incredible. But more important than grand scale is the far grander skill of seeing the inherent dignity and value of each person. And I see so much beauty in all of you. And every single person I've met at this university, classmate, professor, administrator, I've loved the more I've gotten to know. And not just here, at Community Mental Health, all my fellow therapists and clients were incredible, especially my clients. Even with the most extensive trauma histories, they've retained their dignity, their humanity. And there's honestly something inspiring to learn about each and every person as long as you take the time to get to know them. You know, I could say that maybe I got the luck of the draw, that maybe I just got lucky with my clients, my classmates, my professors, but I don't think so. I think I just got better at seeing. Because as a little prince once said, it's only with the heart that one can see rightly. So thank you for letting me speak today. It was an honor. And thank you all deeply for choosing this work. I cannot wait to see what you achieve, because frankly, we need your help. So thank you, and let's get to social work, shall we?
Thank you, Christian, for those deep felt, inspirational words. And we're all going to be leaving here today thinking of the future and the first social work president. Look forward to that day. Now, graduates, this is the moment you've been waiting for. At this time, I would like to present the newest University of Michigan School of Social Work graduating class of 2021. We will now begin the individual presentation and hooding of our Master of Social Work graduates. Would the marshals, readers, hooders, and Alumni Board of Governors representative please take your places as we begin the presentation of graduates. And graduates, as you join me across stage, we're going to pause for a moment for a photo, and I'll be delighted to present you with a congratulatory gift from the school, a University of Michigan business card holder with which to begin your professional life. We will also have some graduates who are celebrating with us online today. Their photo will be shown on the screen as their names are read. Graduates.
Katie Cox. Christian Smith. Sophie Hannah Aaron. Danielle Adams. Zara Ali. Alejandra Alvarez. Araceli Alvarez. Marissa Alvarez, Master of Social Work and Master of Public Health. Molly Jean Argersinger. Maya Arsenault. Megan Banfield. Sydney Baranski. Gabrielle Barnett. Bailey Berry. Riley Barth. Katie Beasley Surio. Amy Elizabeth Belfer. Jason Binford. Kelly Marie Bertoni. Irie Bender. Noah Kazen-Beiser. Ali Bashir Schultz. Lena Bradley. Monsi Brumbut. Heather Danielle Burke. Deshelle Burnett. Brittany Leshay Burton. Alexander Reese Butterfield. Elle Callahan. Olivia Calvin. Erica Elizabeth Campbell. Julia Carpenter. Ariana Castillo, Master of Social Work and Master of Public Health. Joshua Chernos. Grant Clement. Kaylin Cobb. Emily Cole. Catherine Marie Collins, Master of Social Work and Master of Public Health. Juliana Gabriela Corral. Shannon Cosgrove. Kashmeen Dalal. Kenneth Dyricki. Flavio De Stefano. Michelle Draper. Colton Drabus. Courtney Ann Dyer. Christian Edwards. Blessing Ebog. David Immenecker. Dina Eder. Allison Fugenti. Miranda Ellen Gailey, Master of Social Work and Master of Public Health. Trey Gates. Rachel Germain. Kevin Gilliam. Emily Claire Giovanni, Master of Social Work and Master of Public Health. Samantha Goldberg. Allison Gordon. Natalie Haddad. Cassie Hall. Jacqueline Avante Hamilton. Abigail Joy Hampton. Rihanna Hardenius. Kayla Harper. Joseph Healy. Lori Hegedal. Brianna Alyssa Hernandez. Brianna Hightower. James Hill, the fourth. Jordan Hillary. Lindsay Hogan. Rachel Hogue. Michael Holtzman. Heather Lynn Hunt. Heather Hutchinson. Shannon Catherine Jaco, Master of Social Work, Master of Public Health. Lucine Jara. Carly Jones. Lillian Mann Karras. Lily Zane Kaplan. Kristen Carwin. Chris Kemp.
Melissa Corti. Adam Aldridge Labarth. Stephanie Longmire. Jasmine Love. Barbara Law. Riley Lowe. Tiana Luton. Dorothy Ma. Christine McKenzie. Amanda Magnin. Mumina Mahmood. Paige Malay. Isabella Mancini. Courtney Marsden. Nurey Maham Matin. Allison McLean. Elverson Mitchell. Mariana Moynihan. Razia Muhan Adi. Kendra Nash. Bethany Navis. Lauren Nelson. Ray Noel. Mariana Elizabeth Olson. Hannah Pankow. Jack Miller. Kiara Phelps. Sarah Pilson. Megan Price. Frankie Casarano. Frankie Quasarano. Lauren Rainey Bergdorf. Justin Ramirez. Olivia Rice. Nuam Rida. Yes? Jazzy Rivas Dinkins. Caitlin Rodriguez. Melanie Rose. Caitlin Ruderman. Alexandra Sass. Javier Cesedo Flores. Laurel Schreier. Courtney Schroeder. Tanner Shudlick. Haley Seg. Micheline Silva. Ellie Simons. Sarah Elizabeth Snay. Savannah Stanciel. Stacy Stevens. Marissa Ann Stieber. Asha Sutton. Emily Marie Swisher. Tan Jing Shao. Mishael Naisha Nicole Taylor. Allie Thomas. Laura Thomas. Taylor Thornton. Marissa Trigali. Skylar Turner. Rachel Wesner Vanderbush. Bethany Vanderplu. Ethan Vaughn. Emma Velasquez. Margaret Studi Vocos. Tammy Meng Wei. Emily Wujenki. Megan Wensloff. Matthew Workman. Eddie Williams. Alexis D. Willoughby. Bridget Wilson. Yichuan Yang. Tanate Zebedeo. And we have several graduates to recognize virtually. It's my honor. So we'll introduce our students. So we have Helen Balagula Garcia. Catherine Downs. Brooke Gabriel. Karen Huang. Gracie Johnson. Lexi Isabella Kay. Sharif Ahmad Krabti. Alex Leon. Emily Schachtel. Zichen Shen. Joel Andrew Wheeler, Master of Social Work and Master of Public Policy.
And now, I invite the MSW December class of 2021 to please stand. I now confer upon you, on behalf of the University of Michigan Board of Regents, the Master of Social Work degree. One more thing, graduates. before you sit down, please move the tassels from the right side of your cap to the left side as a symbolic gesture that you are now proud alumni of the University of Michigan. Please be seated. You can be seated, graduates. And please remember, graduation doesn't mark the end of your relationship with the University of Michigan School of Social Work. As alumni, we hope you will stay connected and engaged through the numerous social and professional opportunities offered by our Office of Development and Alumni Relations. And now, this is a really important part of our program. Graduates, it is your turn to thank your family, your friends, those who stood by and supported you as you achieved your educational and goals. Family and friends' support and encouragement make the great educational accomplishments of our students possible. I would like to invite all family members and friends in attendance to stand up and be recognized. Graduates, show the love. And at this time, I would like to invite Clinical Associate Professor and Graduation Committee Chair Debbie Madison to the podium.
Hello, everyone. On behalf of the Graduation Committee, students, staff, and faculty members, and the Office of Student Services, we want to invite you to join us in taking an opportunity to acknowledge the exemplary support Dean Videka has consistently provided to commencement ceremonies throughout her tenure as the Dean of the School of Social Work. Many events like these that are being held today, people attend them without really knowing the immense detailed work and intentional preparation and resources that go into each and every commencement ceremony. This has been particularly true during the last 2 years with the impact of COVID, leaving the whole social work community grieving the loss of traditional in-person graduation ceremonies that we all hold so deeply in our hearts because it is a remarkable milestone that we are celebrating today. Dean Videka has always placed great value and importance on commencement and has been a true champion and supporter of making each and every graduation ceremony the best that we could possibly and humanly make it. She has been unwavering in her support and commitment of resources in so many ways. For example, she allocated resources to pay for the purchase and direct mailing of hoods to every graduate when we were unable to celebrate together in person due to COVID, all so that the graduates could still have a cherished part of the commencement tradition of being hooded, in this case by loved ones in their own homes due to the necessity for a virtual ceremony. Dean Videka has presided over approximately 17 commencement ceremonies in her 6-year tenure as dean. We take this moment to acknowledge her unwavering support and commitment to these meaningful ceremonies that students and families alike dream about much of their lives. Dean Videka, we honor you at this, your last commencement, presiding as the Dean of the School of Social Work, and say a heartfelt thank you. We are so grateful to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's beautiful to get these flowers and to hear Debbie's acknowledgement. But the truth is, A great ceremony like this doesn't come together without the help of many faculty, students, and staff. And that includes our musicians today. The contributors, yes, let's give them a round of applause. The contributors to today's beautiful ceremony are individually recognized on page 18 of the program, so please take a look at that. Join me in a round of applause and appreciation for today's event organizers. And now, on behalf of the faculty and staff of the school, I would like to thank each and every person here today for attending, and I want to, including our online attenders, and I want to extend congratulations from the University of Michigan School of Social Work to our graduates. Please join us for a reception in honor of our graduates at the School of Social Work building. It's just a beautiful walk across campus on this crisp day, and the reception will follow after this ceremony. I would appreciate it if everyone could remain seated until the recessional march of the platform party and graduates has been completed. Please have a safe trip home after the reception and enjoy this special day. Now, we're going to close the ceremony, and please join us with a celebratory singing of Hail to the Victors. Go Blue!